Welcome to the Getting High on Leadership series featuring Paul Karasik. Paul is one of America's top management consultants helping leaders succeed. He is the author of 9 books, including Sweet Persuasion and Brilliant Thoughts and Provocative Questions. His insights appear regularly in major publications, and he is one of the most sought-after executive coaches. Paul founded the American Seminar Leaders Association and the Psychedelic Institute of Los Angeles. He is a popular speaker at national conferences and has been on stages across all 50 states and internationally. Paul's work addresses the question, how can we transform conflict in business into collaboration? With decades of experience in management, leadership, and psychedelics, he brings a unique perspective on personal and societal growth. In this series, we'll be discussing his latest book, Getting High on Leadership, The Leader's Guide to Higher Consciousness. We'll be exploring the concepts, techniques, and mindset required to revolutionize leadership. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this series. My name is Sanchez, your host, and we are joined by Paul Karasik, author of Getting High on Leadership. We are closing out Section 3 and ultimately the book here with the last few episodes. Today's section is called 3 Hungry Men, and it can be found on page 137. If you'd like to, as always, you can grab a book for yourself from the link below. Paul, welcome again, and where can we begin with this little story of 3 hungry men?
Yeah, it's this is kind of a revolutionary chapter. You know, having worked in the business environment and the corporate environment in particular for 20 or 30 years, you find out certain things are just not spoken. And I know you work in corporate to some degree as well. And, you know, sometimes you and I talk about that corporate speak and, you know, the way things are done. It's definitely a certain kind of style. And let's not get into a judgmental thing about it. But there's definitely a language in that arena. There's do's and don't do's. There's appropriate, non-appropriate, and so on and so forth. And there's a word that's almost been that is not welcome to a large degree in business, in corporate, and that's the word love. It was interesting. I don't know if I mentioned this. Sometimes the series is so long, sometimes I forget if we talked about something. But I remember reading a piece by Peter Drucker. Do you know who Peter Drucker is?
Yes.
Yeah, he's a very famous management consultant. He's probably the most recognized, which has been my work for my career. And he said something really interesting. He said, why is it that we're not allowed to say the word love in business? That you love your work, or you know, like, why is that such verboten? You know, why is that? And he didn't really come up with a solution. He wasn't driving home any particular point or anything like that. But it just got me thinking, yeah, it's interesting. Love is the most important thing in the world. Love is what drives us to do almost everything that we do. Love is, in the end, the meaning of existence in many ways. The very essence of existence is the experience of love in our life. It's a criteria for determining if we're successful and at a certain level. Do I have freedom? I love my life. And yet it's not spoken, and it's not welcome to be spoken. And this chapter is about that word love. And like I say, it's kind of a revolutionary chapter to even put it in there. But the point being, I think to some degree, and I know we've talked about this, is that we can't take off our regular clothes when we go into work, or we can't abandon our authentic self when we're working in a team on a mission, because that creates stress. And our essential self, our true self, is love at a certain point, if we look at it from the point of view of the soul. And so, and I don't want to get into a whole spiritual thing, or that's not what this is about. But that experience of love, I think almost everybody would say, is the ultimate experience of life. To be loved, to have love, to love others is the ultimate experience of life. And why wouldn't we want people on our team or people in the business or people who are working with or reporting to us feel that same kind of energy of love that's so motivating and makes us feel so good? Why do we have to eliminate it from business? Because the person whose life is determined by love doesn't change when they come into your team environment. They're still in that. You see what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm being totally clear on this.
And it's like your statement that we've said a lot. I think it's the catchphrase of the show, with leadership being the transference of emotion. If that's the case, how could we skip one emotion?
There you go.
In all that transfer, we're obviously going to have some gaps now in communication and who knows in what else, right?
Exactly. Love is the transference of an emotion. Thank you. And wouldn't the most powerful emotion be love?
Right.
Like if I said,
with leadership. Yeah.
Yeah, like if I was going to recognize you, you did a great job, Rob, on that project. That's one thing. But if I really have emotional, like, oh my God, this is so great what you did, and if love was ruling that communication, it would be so much more effective. You'd hear it so much louder. But as if I did corporate speak,
right.
Rob, you do a really good job. You're really efficient in most of the tasks that we give you, and generally you bring them in a time frame that's either good or better than we'd expect from anybody else. You're doing a great job, Rob. That's corporate speak.
You've done fair work.
You've done fair work, but like, how about talking to people about what they love to do most? What do you love to do most? That's what as a leader, that's what I want you to be doing. What do you love to do most? What do you love to do most? And then what do you talent? What's your talent? What's your own talent? And usually they're connected with the thing that they love. They're really good at. And now you're using the word love on a regular basis. And like it says in this little story, when love is there, everything else follows. When love is there, we talked about caring, about what you're doing, taking responsibility, accountability. It's all there when you love somebody, when you love what you're doing, when you love the mission of the work that you're doing. If you love the vision of where you're going in the future with what you're doing, then the whole enterprise is charged up and excited. And so this chapter really, that's what it tells us. When love is there in what you're doing, in the way you feel about your coworkers, about your boss, about the people that report to you, maybe even, the effectiveness, the efficiency, the amount, the results increase exponentially. Not caring is just, those are great words, but really what they mean is there's no real emotion there. And when there's no emotion, like I went to get coffee the other day, and I get up early on Sunday and I go to this particular, and the coffee's good there, but the people that work there don't really give a crap. They make the coffee according to what it says on the paper, but they don't love it. And I can tell they don't love it because it's never quite perfect. So when I go to another coffee shop, and they're connoisseurs of coffee, they make sure it's hot enough. They make sure that
not too hot.
Or not too hot. They make sure
that's always the worst way to get a latte for me.
Getting it right, exactly. But because they love coffee, they want to serve it to you in the most. So you're going to go, wow, this is so great. They have a pride in it. And these people on Sunday morning, when I go for coffee at this particular shop, they don't have it. I see it. They're glum. They're not. I know they're not happy to be there, and it reflects on on their production, on how much they're doing, and the quality of what they're doing. It reflects on everything. So imagine making that a criteria love just, if you're going to work in this coffee shop, number one, you got to love coffee. You don't love coffee, you can't sell it. You're not going to make it as terrific as it could be. And so love, not just for each other, but love, passion for what you're doing, passion for the products that you sell. You know, as somebody who spent a lot of time teaching sales, I always teach people, you got to sell what you love. You got to sell what you believe in. And don't sell anything else, because you'll never be successful. You got to sell what you love. You got to sell what you believe in. You got to sell. That's how you sell.
Right. It's a key part of the sales process. It's a key part of life. To ignore it in any aspect of business or leadership is doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah, exactly. And so this chapter was put in there as kind of like a call to all the people that are living in those, working in those environments that are kind of where love and affection and caring and all these things are kind of either downplayed or actually even pushed away. To say, love is okay. And Peter Drucker said it, it's okay. You know, it's okay to say the word love. It's okay to talk about that. It shouldn't be off limits, because we can't compartmentalize ourselves into love is important before 9 o'clock or before I get involved with my team, and now love is not important. It's not negotiable. Love is important 24/7, no matter what we're doing. And that's the point of this story. It's a reminder. And a lot of non-corporate environments, there is a lot of affection with teams that are working on things together.
Something about scale sees that struggle a little bit.
I think that's part of it. When it gets big like that, then that sort of gets pushed aside. But to think that it's in the way of production or productivity is that.
Yeah, I think that's what the story outlines, right? Yeah, that's the right choice ultimately to choose love.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, well put, Paul. Thank you for the wisdom and insight as always. And thank you to our listeners and viewers. If you like what you've seen here and you haven't seen the rest of the series, feel free to start from the beginning, pick and choose any that catch your interest, and grab a book for yourself from the link below. Thank you. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Getting High on Leadership series. If you have any questions, you can comment below or send them in via email to paul@paulkarasik.com. Follow him on Instagram at PK_The Conversation. Find out more at wholesalerinstitute.com and psychedelic-awakening.com. The Getting High on Leadership series is produced by Rob Sanchez and Apartment 113, which can be found at apartment113.com and followed on Instagram at APT_113.